في عالم يتغير بوتيرة سريعة، تبقى العلاقات الدولية حجر الزاوية في مواجهة التحديات وبناء الجسور بين الشعوب. واليوم نقف عند نقطة التقاء مهمة بين ضفتين، الاتحاد الأوروبي ومصر. ضيفتنا في هذه الحلقة ليست مجرد دبلوماسية، بل شاهدة على فصول جديدة من التعاون والشراكة، الشراكة التي ارتقت إلى حد الاستراتيجية. نرحب اليوم بسعادة أنجلينا إخارست، رئيسة بعثة الاتحاد الأوروبي لدى مصر، في حوار صريح إنساني وعميق. ده بودكاست كروس توك، وأنا هناء أبو العز. Your Excellency, welcome to اليوم السابع newspaper and Cross Talk podcast. Actually, it's truly a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really thrilled to be with you.
Let me start with something simple but personal. What was the first thing you thought when you knew you would be assuming the position of head of the European Union delegation to Egypt?
I was surprised, to be honest, that it would actually happen after so many years having engaged with Egypt, living in Egypt before, of course having also family connections to Egypt. And then I thought, oh God, I'm going back. And how will it be when I go back? This was my first reflex, I remember. And then I thought, my second was, this is a very big responsibility, a lot of work. But I was happy that I could actually be as the ambassador of the European Union at a moment when our relations are good, they are deep, they are strategic. So I looked so much forward because I thought this is going to be great. We have so much work to do together.
So what is your assessment of Egypt's current relation with the European Union? And actually I need to ask you, do you identify any untapped areas of cooperation?
So the European Union, Egypt, in the current strategic framework we cover absolutely every area, perhaps some more than others, and that has also to do with what we believe is our joint future. So we give much more attention now to climate change, renewable energy, green transition. We do that much more than before. Traditionally, we would be in the classic areas of health and education per se. Today, we look at digitalization. We look at new technologies for agriculture, for water, for energy, as I said.
Yes.
But we also work so much on human development, on skills, training, special training. And these are all areas where I truly believe that European Union has so much more to offer today, because we also develop new technologies, new ways of working, we adapt, and we actually hope that our partners, and in this case it's Egypt, the most strategic partner we have at this point in time, that Egypt also together we can go in this, what I call this powering of the future together.
Yeah. So how does the European Union evaluate Egypt's regional position in the Middle East and Africa?
It's not an easy position to have, and traditionally I think many always looked at Egypt on how can we work together on solving the issues that are at hand. Egypt has a very strong role to play. Today it is a lot about mediation, trying to get parties around the table, trying to get everybody to talk to each other. That is, of course, very much on the file when it comes to Gaza. Today, it's one of the key areas where Egypt plays a very strong, important role, but also Libya, Sudan, in the immediate neighborhood. But I would say in the whole region, we are now working together with Egypt and many partners on what we would call a new pact for the Mediterranean, where Egypt has a key strategic role to play because of history, I would say size as well, the whole political history of Egypt, the role Egypt has always played in the region, that I believe it is very important to continue to flesh it out, to have it deeper, our relations. And Egypt is very much on the point, I say it many times, it's about preserving institutions, strengthening institutions, because today we need functioning institutions to actually preserve quality of life and make sure people know what they can expect when it's about rule of law, when it's about international law as well, when it's about what do you expect in a society to happen or not. You need institutions to function, to provide for care, for services. And Egypt is very strong on that, I must say, because they always say we need to have functioning institutions in the region, and the European Union is all about functioning institutions.
So that's why I ask you, is there any intention of expanding Egypt's collaboration with the European Union to embrace new strategic challenges, particularly in view of global changes?
Yeah, I think we are now at a time that things change so rapidly, so quickly, that today we very much work with the government of Egypt and with all partners. We go where are the main priorities of the country and where can we help best. So today we work much more with the private sector than before, for instance. And this is good. We use different ways of working to actually help build the confidence for the private sector as well, to invest and to employ, etc. So these are areas we would not have done some time ago. We give so much more support, as I said before, on the technical skills, on people who want to learn certain professions which they can use in Egypt, and they can also use them abroad, the skills they can build up.
Maybe we can move on to regional issues, actually. What is the European Union view on the current situation in Gaza? Are there any new initiatives to press for a ceasefire or resume negotiations?
You know, if you go back, in fact, in the whole history of the file of Palestine, the European Union has always played a very strong role of support for two-state solution, of support a political solution to all the issues at hand. There were many wars in the region. There were many times when it was felt that this question has to be resolved. And the European Union has been very consistent, also through support to the Palestinian Authority, through humanitarian assistance. We've always been there. And then 7th of October happened, which was a huge shock for everybody. It was for everybody in the region. You know, we've said it every day, how deep the shock was of 7th of October. And we always stood there to say all the points everybody knows. Of course, hostages have to be released, security has to be provided, assistance has to come, ceasefire then was very much needed until today. This is very much the line of the European Union. We need, and this is also what Egypt is very much working on, we need a sustainable ceasefire, right? Hostages have to be released. And today, the suffering of the people in Gaza is very, very, very deep. So the European Union, we will not stop in trying to work as much as we can to find a political solution, to work on two-state solution. Actually, it's very much in line in what the government of Egypt has been working on all this time. We strongly support also Egypt in their positions.
But you know, the war actually affects on everyone around the world. So how does the ongoing conflict in Ukraine affect the EU's diplomatic and economic priorities, as well as project funding in other countries?
It's a good point in a way that you feel every country, every continent, every region has its own issues at hand that really make us work very hard on trying to find solutions. You mentioned Ukraine, and the Russian aggression on Ukraine hit the European Union also. First it hit Ukraine, but it hit the European Union very hard. And until today, we have decided from February, when the war started in 2022, until today, we have steadfast support for Ukraine. Yeah. Because we have very clearly said that the Russian aggression is unacceptable, unwanted. The war is unwanted. We have put so many sanctions on Russia as such. We took so many measures. it has hit, and it's a challenge to explain this also to our friends here in the region, where everybody has the challenges, the threats, the perceptions, the historical experience. Everybody looks at issues differently. But for the European Union, the war, the Russian aggression on Ukraine has really hit the whole system. We also felt we had to be very strongly equipped as European Union, and you see that also happening now in NATO, to be able to defend our people, to defend our security. So we worked very hard on that, but we also felt we could no longer be reliant fully on gas coming from Russia. Mm-hmm. So the oil and gas file has taken a very different direction than before. You saw how the war affected the world on every file, on food security, on security in general, on natural resources. So with that war, it has changed very much the way we work within the European Union, and many member states until today, actually, the 27 member states have a very clear position on the needing to stop the war, the aggression of Russia on Ukraine.
In your opinion, to what extent may Egyptian-European cooperation help to improve regional stability, whether in Libya or Sudan?
It's a very good question, because both what is happening in Libya and Sudan, obviously, these are very complex issues. For the moment, there are many actors, as we say, in diplomacy, who play different roles. For Libya, we are very much together with Egypt on the point you need to have elections there. Actually, elections in general are very important in the region. You see in different countries where the preparation for elections are ongoing, because we feel people need to have the voice to express who they want to have in office politically. But there's much more, of course, at stake. I mean, we could talk for hours about Libya. Sudan is to such a level of also humanitarian assistance needed, and the suffering of the people of Sudan. It requires certainly much more work together to, again, as we said before, also for Gaza, elsewhere, to stop the violence and to make sure that people actually have hope and they have a way to go back to their homes and continue their lives. These are all words we are saying, but we know that people on the ground, there is a lot of need today for assistance, for attention. And in my kind of work, it always starts with putting the question really, as we say, on top of the agenda. And Sudan is a very good case. We find that it is important to absolutely work together on Sudan. Libya too, but you cannot compare one to the other, because what is happening in the countries is for different reasons.
Different cases.
And different cases. If you look at the issues that the ministers of the European Union at different levels, ministers of foreign affairs, other ministers, leaders discuss, you actually find that all these questions are being discussed quite thoroughly and with a lot of intensity of what can we do. European Union cannot be present everywhere, but the examples you gave are ones of questions that we feel very strongly need to be resolved. And with Egypt, we have that strong partnership that also, when it comes to questions in the region, we can partner together. And that, I must say, we are doing it more and more together.
Let's take a short break from politics and dive into something a bit more personal. Your impression of Egypt. Actually, here we can talk in Arabic, okay?
Great, look forward.
Okay, إيه أكتر حاجة فاجأتك أول ما وصلتي مصر؟ وإيه أكتر حاجة أعجبتي بيها جدا؟
السؤال مش سهل يعني بس أنا حقيقي إن أنا لقيت لما وصلت، طبعا بالي دلوقتي كام 6-7 شهور، الناس المصريين. إنه أنا لقيت لما وصلت مصر ويعني حصل برضو من أول يوم، من أول لحظة حتى في المطار اللي رأيت الريزيدنتس والكونتاكت مع البيبل it's so strong so deep. حقيقي في حاجة في مصر بتخلي الكونتاكت مع الناس very warm, very spontaneous. وأنا لقيت يعني فعلا أنا I miss this in Europe. دي حاجة I think it's only special for Egypt. معلش أنا بلخبط بين عربي وإنجليزي. I hope it's okay.
ممكن أسألك هنا من واقع خبرتك إيه أكتر حاجة، أكتر بلد أوروبي تشبه الشعب المصري
بالنسبة للغة؟
للحركات، للروح.
لا اللغة أكيد مالطا. اللغة دي أعتقد عندها كلام كتيرة جدا عربي وكمان غير عربي، بس يمكن تلاقي في كل الميديترينيان كونتريز، إسبانيا طبعا، بورتغال، فرانس، إيطالي، يونان، you have في عندك برضو بتلاقي كتير من تاريخيا من الروح المصري، روح الميديترينيان. لما أول ما جيت مصر في 85 لقيت كتير ناس من إيطاليا ومن يونان أيضا. لما رحت اسكندرية وكده بتلاقي فعلا في علاقات عميقة جدا. لكن زي ما قلت رحت إسبانيا النهاردة وبرتغال كمان بتلاقي نفس العلاقات من زمان. لكن أعتقد بالنسبة لي مصر، يعني طبعا أنا كنت في بروكسل السنوات اللي فاتت، مصر مشهورة في كل بلاد الاتحاد الأوروبي. وانتي عارفة أنا عندي في يعني مش هنسى أبدا كنت في المدرسة في الأولوية، كان تاريخ مصر كان من ضمن الأولويات في الدراسة بتاعتنا. كل الناس عارفين الهرم، التاريخ مصر، الفرعون. يعني حقيقي unbelievable the level of knowledge. لما بتقولي مصر الناس عارفين Egypt، عارفين كمان فين Egypt، عشان ناس كتيرة يمكن بلاد تانية مش عارفين فين، لكن مصر معروف على الخريطة وفي كل حتة.
This question that actually many of people, actually specific youth, they ask me to ask you. There are 24 languages in EU. Which one is difficult? Egyptian, and which one you suggest? You encourage Egypt youth to study, employ in EU market.
That's a good one. حقيقي طبعا I think الجيل الجديد ناس كتيرة بيتكلموا اللغة الإنجليزية. أنا شخصيا أعتقد الفرنساوي كمان مهم جدا، بالذات لما تحبي تسافري في العالم كله. أسباني أكتر ناس بيتكلموا لغة foreign language اسباني.
ودلوقتي بقول لو عايز تشتغل اتعلم الماني.
وكمان لسه كنت عايزه اضيف معاكي صح الالماني. وانا لقيت في ناس كتير بيقولوا الالماني difficult. انا بالنسبه لي طبعا انا تربيت بالالماني ايضا، هولندي الماني، لكن لغه مهمه جدا اكيد. وبالذات لو تحبي تشتغلي داخل الاتحاد الاوروبي أيضا اللغة الألمانية مهمة.
طيب لو هنسأل بقى عن الموسيقى المصرية، تحبي تسمعي إيه؟ أنا عارفة إن في قصة كده ليها علاقة بالأغنية بتاعت سعاد حسني.
أيوة. بصي لما أنا بحب أسمع فعلا بسمع أم كلثوم أنت عمري، عشان يعني زي اقول لك يعني تا 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 تا. لما انا بسمع كده حتى الصبح او بالليل
اللحن
يعني بيديني مش عارفه احساس عميق جدا ونوستالجيا، ممكن تلاقيني بقى في دنيا تانية. لما كنت في لبنان كنت بحب فيروز كتير
طبعا.
وفيروز كمان مثلا يوم السبت الصبح باخد قهوتي وكده بسمع صباح ومساء. تعرفي الأغنية دي؟
طبعا صباح ومساء.
ليه؟ يعني أغنية بسيطة تركت حبي وكده وبعدين ما في غيره. دي الحلوة دي، ما في غيره، انك انتي ساعات يعني بتفكري في حاجات كتير في الحياة وفي النهاية ما في غيره. يعني احنا كويسين الحمد لله، يعني عارفة. في أغنيات كتيرة جدا باللغة العربية أنا بحب الحديث أيضا فيه.
طب إيه
عشان يمكن
أغنية سعاد حسني البنت زي الولد؟
I love it. I really love it.
إيه أكتر ميموري تحبي تكون تفضل دايما في ذاكرتك من مصر؟
برضو أنا هرجع للشعب المصري. لازم إنه شعب مختلف تماما، اللغة، الأسلوب، التعامل مع بعض حلو كتير.
لأن حضرتك ممكن تقضي الويك اند بتاعك هنا في مصر فين، أو بتعملي إيه في الهوليداي أو الفيكيشن؟
حاليا الويكندز أنا بعمل كتير. أنا بحب أمشي على رجليا وبروح الأماكن الجمعة والدنيا فاضية. بروح الأماكن التاريخية القديمة في القاهرة. ليه أنت لا تصوري قديه بتشوفي لما تمشي جمعة الصبح في الشوارع اللي هي مش بس، أنا مش بتكلم عن خان خليلي، لكن في مناكن كتيرة إسلامية، تاريخية، مسيحية كتير، مباني كتيرة جدا. واحد يمكن نسي المباني دي موجودة، بس لكل مبنى ليه تاريخ وليه قصة. ما انت قلت الكلمة، القصص. انا بدور على القصص ورا كل حاجة انا بشوفها، وعشان اعمل كده لازم امشي على رجلي خارج القاهرة. بس محتاجة أكتر من ويكند. أنا أحب أروح أسوان. أنا فعلا مكان بحب كتير.
طب لو قلنا وطلبنا من حضرتك إنك توصفي مصر في كلمة واحدة، هتقولي إيه؟
مصر عظيمة.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Really pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
وصلنا لنهاية حوارنا مع سعادة السفيرة أنجلينا إخارست، رئيسة بعثة الاتحاد الأوروبي في مصر. تكلمنا عن السياسة، عن فرص التعاون، عن التحديات الإقليمية، لكن كمان عرفنا بعض من الجانب الإنساني من تجربتها في مصر وانطباعاتها عن الناس والثقافة والحياة اليومية. شكرا ليها على الحوار الصريح والملهم، وشكرا لكم على الاستماع. استنونا في حلقات جديدة من كروس توك، وأنا هنا أبو العز.